Hi, I'm AJ Parr, and here's today's NDE report. Connie Fusella has had three near death experiences, but the most impressive was when she popped out of her body from a hospital bed and stood face to face with a light being. His eyes contained entire galaxies, and he told her it was not her time. Why was she sent back? And what is the gift she brought back from the other side? Let's find out.
The AJ Parr Spiritual Journalist Podcast.
I'm here with Connie Fusella, and she's had three near death experiences. Can you tell us what happened and what you experienced?
Sure. I was at work and people were coming by. It was after the weekend, and people were coming by my desk and commenting about how much sun I had gotten. That I was like, sunburnt red, and I was like, okay, yeah. And I had been out in the sun, but after like so many people were commenting, I was like, what? Why are they saying this? And so I went into the bathroom and looked and realized I was beet red. And then I pulled up my shirt and I could see I was all, rashed, and I was getting redder and redder, and then I couldn't breathe. And luckily, one of my coworkers, came in and saw me. And by this time, I was on the floor gasping for air. And so she called the ambulance, and I got taken to the hospital. And what I remember is getting wheeled into the hospital. And then the next thing you know is I'm in this white space, no floor, ceilings, windows, doors, just wide open space. And I'm kind of got my legs crossed in front of me, kind of floating right there. And then the next thing, and I hear this like white noise, like a humming vibration, okay? And it just consumes me. It's like all over. But I felt safe, I felt love, but it was just this big white space. And then this tall being, it was not a human being, I knew that, came towards me, all illuminated in white, so bright that I couldn't make out any facial features. I just saw the outline of this being coming towards me. And they placed a very large book in my lap, and the pages were glowing. And as I looked down at that book, it started from the day I was born, and the pages started flipping automatically, and they were showing me my life. The places I went, the people I saw, the emotions I felt. So, I went through until present day. And when I came out of it, I just thought, wow, what a cool dream, so I got discharged from the hospital because I had gone into anaphylaxis and they treated me. And I told my mom, about this dream, and vivid details like, where I was, what was on the dining room table, the decor, paintings on the wall, very descriptive. And a lot of these things were memories like under the age of 3. And my mother, verified everything that this was actually, my life. So at the time, I did not know that I had a life review. Like I said, I just thought I had a cool dream, and I didn't think anything of it.
So back then, you didn't even know about near-death experiences.
No, this was like the mid 80s. I mean, this wasn't something that anybody talked about really, back then. I think it was like I want to say 86, 87, around there. Yeah.
How long did it take for the second near-death?
It was about 2 years.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
2 years later. This one was more medically intensive. It was another reaction to medication, and I was working in New York City at the time, and I had like a 2-hour one-way commute on the train. It was pretty miserable. But I worked in New York City, and as I got off the train, I hadn't been feeling good, and it was March, and it was cool, and I was sweating and clammy, and my heart was racing. I felt like short of breath. And by the time I got to my office, I came in, and my coworker looked at me. She says, wow, you look terrible. And I'm like, oh, I really don't feel good. I kind of feel like I'm going to pass out. So she called for, our manager, who luckily made the decision to get me to the hospital. And instead of calling 911, because I worked in, Manhattan, here it is early morning, rush hour, everybody's at work. They had like a personal car service on call, and there was a car like waiting right outside. So they literally wheeled me in my office chair on the wheels out the door, in the elevator, down, outside, and got me in the back of the car. And my friend, my coworker, came with me. And as I'm in the back of the car, my heart is like beating like so hard. And I just knew I was going to go. And so I had, a piece of paper, and I wrote on a piece of paper my parents' phone number, and I wrote, tell my parents I love them. And I thought I wasn't going to make it. So I remember getting to the hospital. I remember, the emergency personnel get me on the stretcher, being wheeled into the emergency room, and hearing all the noise and beeps and everybody bustling around. And then the next thing you know is I see myself on the ceiling floating, watching everyone work on me, right? The IVs are going in. And then the next thing you know is I see the doctor grab the defibrillator paddles off the wall and start, putting them on my chest. And I see my body on the stretcher, like jumping, off the stretcher. I look like a rag doll. And then suddenly I find myself in a tunnel, and all bright light. And the way that I described the tunnel, for me, it felt very much like if anybody's had a closed MRI. Like that's how big the tunnel felt to me. It was smaller for me, but it was all lit up. And then I heard that humming vibration sound again. And so I'm going, and it felt like a Disney World ride, right? You're kind of going slow but fast at the same time, feet first on my back. And I just felt excited. I felt like I'm going home. Like it felt familiar to me. I wasn't afraid. I was at peace. I was looking forward to it. And I remember just as I get to the brightest end of the tunnel, my feet kind of touching what I call the glow, and they sunk in like it was jello, like they actually imprinted in, sunk in. And at that moment, it was like I got zipped back. And that's when the defibrillators worked and they revived me. So the doctors, had told me that I had gone into ventricular cardiac arrest. I had flatlined. They brought me back. I was very lucky to get to the hospital when I did.
So at the end of the tunnel, you actually saw this bright light, and you describe it as yellow or golden.
It was a glow. So the whole tunnel was lit up. It was bright light, but it was like that part of it, it was like a special light. So I call it the glow. That's just what I felt. I knew it as the glow.
Did you realize that you were dead?
No. And even after this happened again, this was like 1990. I didn't know I had a near-death experience. I just thought it was another dream.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you share it with someone?
Yeah, I told my parents again, and they were like, oh yeah, but again, not being in this metaphysical world, not having any background or education, I didn't think anything of it. I'm a young kid at that time too, so it's not like I would be now and curious, and I had other things going on in my life, so it was just like, oh yeah, dream.
So did you tell the doctors or the nurses?
No
one.
No, just my parents. Yeah.
So did you learn about near-death experiences before you had your third, or did this go on?
It went on. Still didn't know about them. Yep. So after this near-death experience, what was happening, as I went back to work a few weeks later, and as I was commuting on the train, sitting next to somebody or standing next to somebody, whenever I came close to people, I started hearing again, like I did when I was a child, but I was hearing names. Okay. And then, or I'd see a little vision. And so now I'm thinking, okay, well, this is interesting. Like, what's going on with me? Still not putting it all together because, again, it's not in my wheelhouse, right? So I had to come up with a way to kind of not look very strange, right, to people. So if I sat next to somebody and I heard Thomas, I would say to the gentleman sitting next to me, oh, you look familiar, because you're sitting usually next to strangers on the train, right? I said, oh, you look familiar. Is your name Thomas? And he would say no, but he'd say something like, well, that was my dad's name and he's passed, or, that was my grandfather's name, or that was my mother, There's always people that pass. So I'm like, why am I hearing names of people that are dead? What's going on? Or I'd see like a small vision. It would be like a street sign or a restaurant that they went to, something, or, a vacation spot, like, So this was going on, and I still didn't really understand it. So what happened though is, a couple months maybe after I had this near-death experience and this stuff was going on, one day I just walked in a different direction on my lunch hour. I always had like a routine, and, I had a short time to eat lunch. I went to 1, 2, or 3 places, but one day I walk in a different direction and I come across this big flashing sign that says psychic. And so I don't know anything about this. So I go in and I ask the gentleman at the desk, like, what goes on here? And he's like, oh, these people tell your fortune and future. I'm like, oh, okay, I want to try. So I sign up for like a 15-minute reading on my lunch hour, right? And of course, this lady told me a bunch of garbage, but back then, I was fascinated, right? Because I knew on a soul level that this resonated with me. Like somehow this is part of me. I didn't know at the time how, but I felt that draw to it. So in 1991, I bought my first deck of tarot cards from this place because I thought to myself, okay, now I'm getting curious, right? So I'm thinking to myself, maybe whatever's going on with me, if I use these cards, maybe it'll bring it out, or I can figure out, why I know things, like I was trying to figure it out. But when I read the meanings of the cards, it didn't resonate with me. I couldn't absorb them. So I got frustrated and I put the cards in like this box that I had of junk that I kept in my closet. And that's where they stayed for over 10 years until third near-death experience.
So what happened?
So I have to say, during those 10 years, I had a lot of soul evolution to do. Okay, soul progression. That's what I write about in my book. Okay, I was involved with people, places, things that were not serving my soul's purpose. So I was not getting information. I was not, doing any psychic. I was not getting information. I was blocked for various reasons, and I had to make some changes. And so as I started to make those changes, 10 years later, I had some surgery, and then all of a sudden, as I'm recuperating there in bed, the next thing you know, I'm in these rolling clouds, and the clouds kind of, disappear. And then I find myself in this beautiful meadow, green grass, beautiful bright flowers. The sun is golden. It's just gorgeous. And then all of a sudden, these little children run towards me. And they look about kindergarten age, and they grab my hands on either side, and then we start dancing and singing in a circle, like a ring around the rosy. People know that, it's like kind of singing in a circle. But this song, the language, was not something that I learned on the earth plane, but I knew it. And I was singing this song with them, and then they stopped and they kind of parted on either side of me, and they looked ahead. And as I look, I see this man coming towards me. And as he gets closer, because I was raised Catholic and went to Catholic school, for all intents and purposes, I recognize this man to be Jesus. And he comes to me, and the most incredible thing that I remember were his eyes. because when he looked at me, it wasn't like somebody was just staring at me or looking through me. When he looked at me, his eyes changed colors like the ocean. They were like blue and teal and green and gold and brown. They were like flowing. And when he looked at me, it's like I understood that I was loved, I was safe, and that he knew me on every soul level, not Connie in this lifetime. He knew all of me. And I understood that, and I felt the love and the light, and it was just unbelievable. When he said to me, do you like it here? And I said, of course, I love it here. But at this time in my life, because of my soul progression and things I had to do, I was now a single mom of 2 small boys, okay? And so I remembered and I said, well, where are my children? And he said, well, it's not their time yet. And I said, okay. And then the little children grabbed my hands and we sang and danced a little bit more, and then they stopped again. And then Jesus looked at me again and he said, do you like it here? And again, I said, I love it here, but where are my children? And he said, it's not their time yet, and it's not yours either. You have yet to become who you were meant to be. And with that, I wake up.
So when Jesus spoke to you, did you realize that you were dead?
No.
Well, when he told you that it was not their time yet, referring to your children, did you realize that they had not died, or how did you understand?
No, I just felt like, again, when I woke up, I thought it was a cool dream. And in that moment, I just felt like I was, I don't know, in a dream. It never occurred to me.
Wow. So what did Jesus look like? Did he have long hair, beard?
He had longer hair. He had a mustache and a beard. Like I said, the eyes were really, incredible to me. He was dressed just in a simple tunic. I do remember he had a wooden cross. I do remember that. It was like a wooden cross, and he had sandals on his feet. And when he walked towards me, he walked with his palms up. At his side, he walked with his, that's how he walked towards me. That's what I remember.
Was he blonde or?
No, he had dark hair, like this color hair.
What about his skin?
His skin to me was a little bit on the tanner side. He wasn't very, very pale to me. He had a golden brown, as if I went out in the sun and had a nice tan. He didn't look dark, but he didn't look light. He looked like a healthy tan glow to me. I loved it there. I loved the feeling. I loved, with the children, and it's easy. It's very funny. It's only recently in the last year or so, I never understood why I saw these children, okay? I've always loved children. I have 2 of my own. I always wanted more. But then I became certified with the Helping Parents Heal organization, which works specifically for those that have lost children. And I think that there's some correlation in that experience that I had, that the children came to me, you see, it came sort of all full circle. And I only realized this, and this is the thing that I tell people, okay, because I wrote my book a couple years ago, and I wanted to write it many years, okay, and my team kept telling me it's not time because you still don't know who you are, okay? There are other things that have to take place, and I had to have a past life regression. I had to have an astrological chart. I had to put all of these things together, and the certifications, right, to work to put it all together to say, yes, this is who you are. This is your soul's true purpose. You figured it out. I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones. I figured it out. But I didn't understand the correlation of the children, and now I do.
So when you woke up, or when you got back, where were you?
I was in my bed.
I was
in my bed. Yep. I was in the bed recuperating, and I, dozed off, and then, came back. And
You
again, I
were
thought, oh,
you
and
were
so the only thing that, so I thought, okay, yeah, cool dream. And then I thought, well, what does that mean? Like, who am I supposed to be? Like, I remember you saying you're not who you're supposed to be. And I'm thinking, what the heck does that mean? And a couple weeks later, I get a phone call from a lady that's organizing a psychic fair in South Florida. I don't know how she got my name, but she was short people. This was like on a Thursday, and the fair was Saturday. And she wanted to know if I would be a psychic tarot card reader. So I say, hold on a second. And I go running into my bedroom and I go digging for that box that I still had of junk from over 10 years ago. And sure enough, in the bottom are those tarot cards that I bought in 1991. Hadn't looked at them since. I don't know what they mean. I've never done a reading, but I say yes to this lady. I commit to doing the psychic fair, right? So Saturday morning rolls around and reality set in. And I went into full-blown panic because I'm like, oh my God, Connie, like, what did you do, right? How am I going to do this? I've never done a reading. I don't know how to read cards. So if anybody that knows me, I'm a very loyal person. I will never leave anybody, standing. So my thought is I'll show up to the fair and I will tell the lady I can't do the readings, but I will help you, check people in. I'll do something. So that was my plan. But when I got there, she wasn't having it. She's like, I need you to read. I'm short-staffed. You're sitting over there, blah, blah, blah. And I was kind of a little afraid of this lady. She was very intimidating. So I sat there at this table praying nobody would show up and want a reading because I had no idea what I was going to do. And then sure enough, this lady in her mid-50s shows up. She wants a reading. I pull the cards out and they're very stiff, like a new deck of cards. I only looked at them one time, over 10 years ago. So she already suspects something's, not right. And I don't even know how to put them down. And I just threw them in this big messy circle and some in the middle. And I used all the cards, 76 cards, without saying a word. And she said to me, are you ever going to say anything? And I was so nervous. I was nauseous. And so I looked down at the cards and the strangest thing happened. An electric shock, came into the top of my head, right? And it just went through me. And when I looked down at the cards, I just started talking. And I said to her, there's something about a family secret that just came, got revealed. I said, it has to do with somebody passing. And then I see communication from like a lawyer. There's this legal paperwork, and I see a trip overseas coming up in the next couple of weeks. And then this large sum of money comes to you, like a lot of money. I said, do you understand any of this? And she said she had just recently found out that she was adopted. Right. She's in her mid-50s, I'd say. And both her parents had passed, and she received communication from a lawyer in Europe because her biological father had passed and left her as his sole heir. So she was leaving in a couple of weeks to go to Europe and claim this big fortune that was left to her. So everything I said was spot on. And I continued to read, and, she, verified the stuff. And she was like, wow, that was one of the most accurate and best readings I ever had. And so she left, and she was a happy customer. And I ran to the bathroom and I threw up because I was so nervous and I didn't know what happened to me. I was like, how do I know these things? What just happened here? What was that weird shock that went through? It was so overwhelming. I didn't know, what to make of it. And that's embarrassingly, that's how I started reading.
When did you realize that the term near-death experience existed? And when did you become a medium?
It actually, honestly, I would have to say when I started paying attention to it was probably maybe 10 years ago. And then it wasn't even and I heard about it. I didn't really look into it. And it was when I started writing my book, because this is the other thing my spirit team told me. They were like, you don't even realize what happened to you. And they told me, write this book because you're going to discover more about yourself. And as I was writing these experiences, I was like, oh my God, I've had not one, not two, not three, and more recently, since I went to the IONS conference last year, I realized I also had a shared death experience with my father, which I wrote about in the book, but didn't know that that's what that was.
Can you tell us about that shared death experience?
Sure. So all three of my near-death experiences, interestingly, have that white humming vibration noise going, right? So the thing about my father's passing is I predicted the day about 2 years before that he would pass, because I kept getting a sign and it was 444. Now I know that that's an angel number, and I don't know a lot. I couldn't tell you anything about crystals, about angel numbers, about signs, astrology. I don't know anything about anything. I just do what I do. I'm like, that's just me. But I knew, because I got the sign when I was with my father, that intuitively I knew it had something to do with him. And I was getting this sign like crazy, crazy, crazy. So I started journaling it. And I wrote down, because when I do mediumship, 4 equals the month of April. So I wrote down 4 is April and 444 is 12. What is April 12th? And my father passed on April 12th, 2 years later. So the day that he passed, my mother called me, and in the morning, as I knew he would, and that was the moment my mother became a believer. Okay, because my mother didn't really believe in the psychic, the medium. She didn't understand what I did. And I had been telling her, I told the hospice nurse like a month before, like she was making plans. I'm like, my father's going to pass on April 12th. She looked at me like I was crazy, and that's okay, right? I'm used to it. But that morning when my mother called me is when her perspective changed, because I was right, and how could I know this, right? So anyway, I'm driving to go to her home where my father still was. And as I'm driving, I'm calling a friend of mine to tell her that my father had passed. And the radio, all of a sudden, as I'm talking to her on the phone, the radio starts going like, making these like high pitched, like strange sounds. And I can't hear my friend. And I'm like, are you there? Are you there? Hello, hello, hello. And then the radio's going, making these sounds. And then all of a sudden, I felt like the breath went out of me, like my lungs like just felt like they were filled with like air, and I had to like let it go. So I pulled over to the side of the road because the feeling was so intense, and it was like I just had to let this breath of air out. And that's like when my father passed. And I heard that humming sound. I heard the radio went like with this high-pitched sound, and then that vibration sound, which was the first time that I experienced it when I was in the waking state. I find it interesting because, and I've heard, other people's near-death experiences, and they meet loved ones. I find it interesting. I didn't meet loved ones. Of course, I met Jesus, and that's fantastic, right? But all three of them serve the same purpose, to wake me up. Like my soul was really trying to tell me, this is what you're supposed to do. This is my contribution to humanity, right? To help those that are bereaved, and to prove there is an afterlife. We still go on. So for me, as many platforms that I can be on, as many audiences that I can be in front of, that's what I'm supposed to do.
So when did you realize that your mission was to become a medium, and you got certified, right?
That's when it really kicked in, because I was doing it, but I wasn't believing it. Like I still couldn't believe, because when you think about it, and you know how when you think about it, it's like, oh my God, I'm talking to dead people. It's pretty wild, right? It's like, and so like I was doing it and I was getting good feedback. But a friend of mine introduced me. I actually went to an Afterlife conference that the Forever Family Foundation did, and then there was some mediums there, and that's when I first, my friend said she was a medium, and she brought me along on some of her stuff, and I did some stuff, and she was like, Connie, you really have a gift. You should do this. And I said, you know what? I just at one point just said, I have to shed the fear and I have to just take the jump because I have to know one way or the other. Am I supposed to do this or not? And so I took the test and I passed. And that was like, that was what I needed. I needed that validation to say, yeah, you're real, you're authentic, you're doing this. You've been tested, you've been vetted, so.
You started practicing, you were certified, and you actually became a professional medium, right?
Yes, yeah. And as of it's been 2 years now, I left my corporate job and that's all I do. So I just do events, I do private readings, I teach mediumship. And one of these days, I'm going to start my second book.
Oh, great. So, a lot of people may be watching this, wondering if you could show us a little bit of your talent.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Here we go. All right. So, I feel like there's a mother figure for you, okay, that stands very close to you. Okay, this lady is showing me though that she has a high um a sense of faith about her because I do feel like a cross or rosary beads. Okay, she's a very religious person. Okay, and I also have that Anna name connected to you or this person somehow as part of a name or a name. Do you understand the A name? Now, I know you have an A name. There's another A name. I feel like it's Anne or Anna or part of a name. Does that make sense for you?
Yes.
Okay. And do you have a mom in spirit?
Yes.
Okay, I feel your mom's present, okay? Very, very much around you. Now, I have to ask you, who is the teacher? Somebody's actually teaching something, she's showing me.
I have no idea.
Okay, did you ever teach?
Well, yeah, I've taught.
Okay, so you're the teacher. She's talking about teaching. Somebody's teaching, okay? So she knows this about you, okay? The other thing that I see here also is that she's showing me she's a very kind woman, okay? And it's funny, I feel like her hair was longer, but I feel like she would have pulled it back. Does that make sense? I feel like she wore it pulled back, like I don't see it hanging in her face a lot of the times, okay? She showed me that I feel her to be shorter, but she's a little stocky as well. Okay, so in her older, she was thinner when she was younger, like we all are, right? So she's a little heavier. She's showing me. Okay, now you have a sister as well. She's saying sister, sister.
Yes.
She wants to acknowledge your sister.
Can you get a message from Jesus or from one of the archangels or from a spirit guide?
So the way that I work, I go right from soul to soul. So I work with just those that have passed. I don't do angel work or archangels or spirit guides. Now, sometimes I will give guidance that I may your spirit guide may pop in, but it's just my belief. I feel like spirit guides are for everyone's own personal development and relationship.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying? But what I do hear is, are you writing another book? Because I hear there's a book.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm hearing. So your team is showing me they're working with you because I feel like, I don't know if you're meditating or journaling, but they're showing me like the information is flowing through. Okay. And that's how you're getting your information. It's almost like channeling is how they're showing it to me. Do you understand that?
Oh, great.
So that's the message for you. Keep on that. Yeah.
So you've been working with this Helping Parents Heal.
Mhm.
This is an organization to help people who have lost a son, a daughter, right?
Well, it's the mediums for Helping Parents Heal, and just like Forever Family Foundation as well, but Helping Parents Heal specifically for children. The mediums are resources for these parents. So they do message, galleries where they invite the different mediums that they've certified to give messages to help the parents, just to prove that their children are still with them. The part of the medium has in the healing is to provide that evidence, those facts that nobody else would really know about their child, that proves, to the parents, like they're still here, not in the physical, but they're still with me, and that they can reach them. So that in itself is the healing part, and knowing that they're okay. My favorite piece of evidence, and it's kind of like just one that I gave to you about writing the book, is what they see after they've passed, right? To prove, like, oh, I saw you just go to the dentist. I saw you just get a new car. I saw the baby being born, right? Things like that to prove, like, we haven't left you. We're still part of your life. So that is like the healing that can come from a medium, for anyone that's lost, a loved one. They want their parents to live their best lives, and they talk about things like things they've seen, like the vacations the family has gone on, and they show me like they loved it. They were there with you, because they'll mention specific details, like, so it's like, I try to show, by you living your best life is what anybody that passes wants you to do, because they're still with us. They're experiencing it, but in a different way.
What is your advice for someone who has lost a child or a loved one?
To know that it's about, this work is all done with love, right? Love is the highest vibration, and just like energy, the love energy, it can't be destroyed. It's endless, okay? It's infinite. So those bonds of love can never be broken, for lifetimes, forever. It never goes away. So, as they say, where there's love, there's grief, right? But it's just to know that we continue on, and know that you're going to see your loved one again, when it's your time.
You say that heaven is just a conversation away.
Our loved ones never leave us, and I, as and science has proved it. This work is all done with energy. We are made up of energy, and energy can neither be created or destroyed. It changes form, and so consciousness survives physical death. We go on, and we communicate via energy, syncing our energy or our vibration with the afterlife and the spirit world, and that's how communication can take place. So you don't need to be a medium, although mediums are more easily able to communicate with the other side, but anybody can do that by learning how to raise their energy or their vibration and making that connection. I think it's important that people realize that we are here in this lifetime is just a small speck of the vast, universe, and that we live many lifetimes, and that's our choice. And that you have to look at it like Earth is the school, okay? And we're a soul that takes a human body for the sole purpose of understanding the human experience. And that is the hardest thing for people to understand, especially if somebody's had a hard life or a short life or a tragic death. But if you put it from the perspective of, I'm a soul, and let's say in my 3 past lifetimes, I've led a wonderful long life, and this time I want to know what it feels like to live a short life, right? It's about the experience, good, bad, indifferent, or ugly. It's about the experience. It's a school. So if you put it in that perspective, just know that, we go on, and we have choices, to come back and try again or try something different.
How can people reach you, and what kind of services do you offer to help people?
My website is www.meaningfulmessages.info, and I'm on Instagram at Psychic Medium Connie Fusella. Facebook, the same, Connie Fusella, you'll find me. And I do medium readings, I do psychic readings, and I do group events. I love to work with fundraisers, charities. I do public speaking. As you know, I've spoken for IONS a few times. So anything like that, reach out to me.
Thank you, Connie. It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you.
This has been the AJ Parr Spiritual Journalist Podcast. Please like, share, and subscribe.